Want my latest market insights? My latest report, Market is Getting Nervous, is now available. Scan this QR code or click on the link in the description. Microsoft, coming right into that price target I gave of 468.35. Check. So it's actually pretty handy that we're getting these levels on a Friday so that we can get some stabilization and potential bounce on Monday. Anyway, perfect. Short the earnings gap into 525.35. We break that. We start to roll over into the 500 again, where we did that the first time. That's the second time. Bounce, I call that a pathetic excuse for a bounce. Why? Because it cannot close above the 10 and 21, and then 10 and 21 on a weekly roll over. That's a trend reversal. And then boom, all we have to do is break that, which is easy. It's already been tested. That's a pathetic excuse for a bounce. And then we have the absolute dump. That's the dump. So we're on the 50 week, we're on a Keltner, we're on a Bollinger Band, and usually that's where we get some bounces, but it doesn't necessarily mean we have to. I still have the monthly of 468, but the point is we're coming into the 200, we're coming in to that monthly and the 50. Typically there's a little bit of a sideways that occurs. I'm not seeing it yet, but it's typically what happens. Meta, already talked about this. Gorgeous. It literally did the same thing. Pathetic excuse for a bounce and then a dump. Beautiful. And it broke the 50 week. That's an example where I had 662 and it closed below it. Oh my. And then it had a pathetic excuse for a bounce into the 50 week, and then it dumped all the way through the gap fill price target of 611.30 all the way to monthly, which was at 602.95, and it's still falling now into the 100. See how the 100 is starting? It was defended before. So that's where we're going to be looking for support with Meta. If then it's going to be in that 577.40 area. Maybe next week we get a little bounce. Again, in Microsoft, it is 468.35 area. So these are short price targets into some support levels. We'll see if they actually work. That's next week. Netflix, same idea with Spotify. This 10 and 21 finally rolled over. Bounce couldn't close above, dump. Pathetic excuse for a bounce. It took a few weeks. Couldn't even get above the 10-week dump. So we're at the 106.45. Then look at this 200. The 200-day is now flattening out. So even if we get a bounce into the 200, maybe we overshoot to 116, it's going to be a short again. This is distribution. It just wiped out all of the gains from that April bounce. So Netflix, could we have a nice bounce at 106.45? Because now that it's digested beautifully, maybe. That's what we're looking for next, is stabilization in that area. Spotify looked just like it. Anyway, it formed a gorgeous short. I'm pretty sure client Jose was short this one as well as Tesla, but the point is, look at this. There's my 50 week. There's a bounce. A pathetic excuse for a bounce because it can't get above the 10 week. And then it dumps through the 50 week. So 50 week is not always so safe. If Spotify comes back inside 608, then we can have a nice little bounce. But that's broken. Stuff is in trouble. So I spied the spot early, the Netflix early, the Meta early, the Microsoft early. What is still strong is Apple with a 285 price target, Google with a 314 price target, and they're still holding. So that's not too shabby. We've got Apple and Google that are still holding up the market. If we lose them, can you imagine the volatility? So Nvidia and Tesla. Well, we already talked about this. I don't think it's going to get above 200 this year. It's already rolled over, but big picture, we have to get inside that 173. And we've only just tagged it, 172.93. So close enough. That's 173. We need to get inside it for this to really cause all kinds of issues, like an oracle, literally like an oracle. That will just come right back down into 152. 173 inside will bring 152. And Tesla, we already talked about, it had a chance to get going, and then it formed a bearish engulfing 3 weeks ago, busted the 415. Client Jose was definitely short this one. And then we had a bounce up and then right back down, which was nice. We had this little, okay, can't get above, hit it. Actually, it hit that 429. Oh my God, remember that? I said intraday it's going to go back up into 429, and then it did. It tagged perfectly yesterday, 428.94, close enough to 429. And then it did that evening star reversal and dumped. But this is still on the 100-day. And this is your 390, but this looks very good for a continuation down into 359. Qs are sitting on the 100-week. Beautiful break, by the way, into 580.94 perfectly. So not too shabby. The levels I'm giving are are working really well. We get a bounce next week, then the bounce level is going to bring it all the way back up into this 596. And it's trying not to fall apart, but the gamma is still too negative for it to bounce. Does that make sense? It's just too negative. So if anything, I still think we're going to come back down into this 575 area, which is a monthly level for the Qs. So QQQ heading back down into 574.63. We talked about app. Look at that gorgeous bounce right here. We broke through the 511 price target, overshoot to a monthly 488.70, and you can see it on the daily. It's trying. Look at that. See that gap? Actually, I should do this. Get rid of that one. That's the key one. And now all that has been unwound. Okay. 5 app, good. Hood, perfect. App and hood worked perfectly. Microsoft, I already gave that level. Did we hit it? 468? No, but we're almost there. SNDK still looks like it has more that it could go. Micron, why I warned yesterday, don't be in a hurry to go long this stuff. I think we can wait a little bit. STX, all those worked. TSM was slow to roll over. Now look at this thing. It's not done. So I only gave 280 as a trigger because of this 55 day. And you can see how it's making a gorgeous head and shoulders up here on the daily. Big distribution top on a weekly, but more important, 55-day bounce, lower high. Takes out the 55-day. See this stuff right here? Lower high. Does a big, huge reversal yesterday. That's true. But this is the 280 I said. And if then we get and stay below 280, we head down to 248. That's 20 more points lower. So the market big picture looks semis are still in distribution. That 248 for TSM is the last to roll over with Nvidia. Look at Nvidia, the shape of it. This is just rolling over. And Oracle, this is just starting to roll over. But remember, that's what happens. WGMI, they go sideways, 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 and they dump. TSM has not dumped yet. It's just starting to roll over. So I still see 248 in time this year. So Oracle, post earnings, Ellison is no longer the richest man. That's for darn sure. He was for a week. Anyway, this is a gap down, 198.31. I also wrote about this as related to the credit default spreads that were widening, cheap tail risk by bondholders, and that also sent vibrations, I guess you could call it, in the AI ecosystem. How are we going to finance this? Cash flow, free cash flow is getting rerouted, investment from the US government, but also bonds. Amazon going to market and doing a bond. I forget when that was, but it was recently. Anyway, this has fallen a lot, right back down into monthly, below the 50, a significant fall from prior highs. We're right on the December 2024 highs. That's impressive. 198.31 is literally 1 year of gains, roughly, is another way of looking at it, or 6 months of gains. And I only had 243 with absolutely not even a question of if, just when, and then an overshoot to the 200-day, which is that green, otherwise 214.65. So we have filled both those gaps. Very impressive. We have wiped out 6 months of gains. This is where it should get supported. It doesn't have to. The Bollinger Bands have already opened up, but that is a protracted downtrend in Oracle. Well, they're obviously still unloading lots and lots of AI in the ecosystem. Palantir is also breaking lower. Look at this. There's nothing here of support. Look at this 10 and 21 crossover. So I said 148 would be the next level of support. You can kind of see it from June. Oracle's just wiped out 6 months of gains. Palantir is in the process. So we're still en route to that 148. But also keep in mind, this is still an ascending 200-day. The trick is, once it makes it back to the 200-day, will it calm down? I think I did Avgo. Yes, I still see 308.78. That's true. That has not even come back down. And how did I forget Amazon? Shame on me. All right, Amazon broke 242.52 for 228.44 gap fill. It's now below and headed to 214.50. And that is what I wrote on Wednesday. And we're almost there. I wrote 214 at the 50 week and we're almost there. I think I hit everything. Germany I talked about. Gorgeous rollover on the 50. Let's see what it does here. But it had SAP, which I believe client Aaron was that was a great bounce into rejection, and then trounce breaking the 100 week. SAP, by the way, is in EWG. It's Germany and it's a darling. And look at this thing. This is nasty. So DAX is back inside its channel. EWG has rolled over to the 50 and still doesn't look done. SAP rolled over first. Now look at Deutsche Bank. Finally, hasn't even broken its trend, but this is a gorgeous reversal. Caught that live. I know Luke was already short, but the point is, gorgeous gap down, starting to break the 10 and 21. There's your 100-day. We break the 100-day, we head down to the 200. So I know it doesn't look like a lot, but in options land, it's actually really nice. So they're decent options to use. Already said EEM hit its head on massive resistance at 56.18, where it hit in 2021 and 2007. So reversion to the mean, pullback. All the China plays are in reversion to the mean. Here's your 400 week, and it's come right back down. I don't even want to look at JD. It's probably below 29. Yeah, it's 28.37. Not interested until this thing can reverse higher, get back above 30, and then probably Q1, as I mentioned. Eli Lilly, congrats. Gilead, congrats. Johnson & Johnson, congrats. My God, man. It doesn't matter. These big drug manufacturers are doing the heavy lifting and rotation of XLV. XBI basically hit resistance and it stalled. And then basically you've got XLP that is starting to think about moving higher. So normally this is a dance, right? I don't mean today, but I'm saying we usually have a little bit of bounce and then we get rejected, form a pattern, and then roll over. That's a left shoulder. That's a head. There's usually a right shoulder. It doesn't usually go right down there, which would be in this case the 21 week. Sorry, the 21 week is right here, 651. The 30 week is 637.65, but that's closer to 635. Okay, so let's say you're 635, but not today. I mean, this is not bearish. Look at this. Look. There's nothing here, big picture, that is bearish in volatility of Nasdaq, except for the fact that it's above 30.20. So we get rejection here and it comes back inside, you'll have a nice ripper in Nasdaq. But if it closes above 30.20 this week, it's really scoopy. That's a technical term. It's really scoopy. And you know how I feel about tail risk. I have been warning about this for 2 months now. So it is just coiling and it has not triggered. And I gave this level exactly. I said, if it gets above 12.20, get out of the pool. Just because it's going to have this type of movement. And that's all. You just want to protect. It looks very still threatening. I don't see anything different.
Join Club today to engage with Samantha and her team of 10 experts. Scan this QR code or click the link in the description. Subscribe to LaDuc Trading YouTube channel for more live trading room recap videos and other content.